Spread your legs. Clear. Let's go.
You already know. Welcome back to that Dog in the Yard and that West Coast journey. And today we got Blue representing that West Coast, man. You know, giving it up early, straight, real street guy. You know what I'm saying? Certified. You know what I mean? And it was an honor having Blue on my show, man. You already know. He took that walk. He took that, you know what I mean, that journey with me, with your boy Pistol, man, on that yard talk. You know what I mean? Your boy Pistol Pete. Let's get right to it, man. West, West, West. When you in that Tampa Bay area, make sure you reach out to my boy Gus Torres, man. If you want anything that has to do with real estate, man, make sure you hit him up. You get the lowest prices and the finest houses, man. Trust me when I tell you. But don't forget to mention my name. You already know that Pistol Pete will get you that early discount. And that's my brother, man, Gus Torres. You already know, out in the Tampa Bay area. Make sure you hit him up, man. Sell, buy, invest, all that. Make sure you hit him up, man, because he focused with that out there. Tampa Bay, you already know, it's your boy Pistol, man. Get at me. You already know what it is. Your boy Pistol Pete. It's that Dog in the Yard. You know what I'm saying? Today we got Blue from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Official brother. You know what I'm saying? So let's just, let's greet him to the Dog in the Yard and that yard talk, man. What's up, Blue? How's everything, brother?
Say everything's solid, soldier.
Absolutely, man. So, I come from the East, man, so I don't really know anything about the West, the prison system, the jail system, the shit that y'all guys go through out here and all that. So it's to me, it's an honor to have you on my show and all that, because I want to definitely enlighten everybody in the world, not just the East Coast. We taking this shit all over. You know what I'm saying? So it's a pleasure to have, brothers from the West Coast, official brothers from the West Coast that be able to break it down, to the youth, to the peoples and shit, the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that being said, tell me a little bit about yourself, like, where you born, raised, how many siblings when you went to jail, mother, dad, normal home, or?
Well, back at you, soldier. It's an honor and I'm humbled to be right here with you, man, and to be on this platform that you created strictly for us, you know what I mean? Not being watered down or anything like this, to continue to cultivate the culture, you know what I mean? And to keep the culture us, because it has been hijacked, as you know, and commercialized. So, man, right back at you, man. I appreciate you, soldier.
Appreciate it, man.
All
appreciate
right,
it, brother.
Yes, sir.
So go ahead, man. So tell me a little bit about yourself, your upbringing and all that,
Yeah,
my name
is Blue. I'm from Long Beach. I come up out the LBC. I've been out there all my life. You know what I mean? I grew up in Long Beach. I lived in Compton, lived in Los Angeles, lived in Dallas, but Long Beach is where I've always been. You know what I mean? That's where we made home when I was a young kid. My family, I came up off the east side, the north side. I came up, actually I was raised in the projects of Long Beach. And then from there, my uncles and all my friends lived on the east side. So I ended up on the east side, running with the gang over there, 21st Street. You hear Snoop talking about 21st Street, the worst street, you know what I mean?
Is that, what gang is that area?
That area right there, that's the Insanes, the Rolling 20s, the 19 Gangsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is what, Crips?
Yeah, that's all Crips. Long
okay,
Beach.
just want to know.
All right, let me give you like this.
We don't know.
Real quick. Long Beach is the only city that's all Long Beach. There's no outside influence. There's no Compton influence, no Los Angeles influence. Not only that, we the only city that I can say in Southern California, and really one of the only cities across the world that's all Crips. And we've it's been a time, and we've been through some trials and some times keeping it to where it's only our influence there. Not saying that we don't got homies from outside the city, but as far as keeping it to where no other gangs or no other territories come in and put a flag in there and stake claim to a part of our territory.
Right.
It's been
it's always been solid, and it's only been y'all guys.
It's only been us. We've had people from outside come in. We've embraced them like as comrades, but then they try to hey, this going woo, you know. So it's been a whole lot. You know what I mean? Holding on
to maintain that position.
Exactly, to maintain us and keep everything us.
So you was raised there.
I was raised there, man.
And at what age you got in trouble and
man,
went to prison? I mean, you was raised, your moms, your dad, you was raised by both?
No, I was raised by my mom and my grandmother and my aunties.
Okay.
My dad was in prison when I was younger. He was doing time up in Huntsville Prison down there in Texas. And when I was younger, I would go out there to keep from getting into everything I end up running head on into. My mother would send me to Texas every summer with me and one of my boy cousins that lived out here in California in the projects. They would send us to Texas to stay with my grandfather, her dad. So the first day school would be out, she would put us on, it was Continental Trailways, like the Greyhound, put us on the trailways, and we'd be out there, you know what I mean? And then my granddaddy, we go out there the first day of school was out, and then we come back maybe like 2 days before school started, and we'd come back out here. So, you know, to keep me from running head on and everything.
From getting in trouble and all that.
That
didn't stop anything. You still want to get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess it was just, you know, one of them things, man.
So
when
is the first time that you ever got in trouble that you went to whether it's a juvenile prison?
Oh, man,
how was that? How was that like?
I went to juvenile halls, man. I went to Los Padrinos, man. It was a zoo, man. It was the LA Zoo. You know what I mean? You got this is like in the early 80s when gangs was just exploding, when LA was the gang, well, it still is the gang capital, but when it was the murder capital of the world, you know what I mean? And when gangs was just like, they was, you know what I mean? It wasn't what it is today. It was like it was
rough to really live there.
Yeah, it was a secret society. Even back then, like now you see it being popularized and as they say, commercialized. You know what I mean? And fashionable, as they say. But back then it was like, you know, we had our own style, we had our own walk, we had our own talk. You know, we had our own dance. You know what I mean? We had everything.
It was private,
and it was just us. You know what I mean? That secret society. You know what I mean? Our own little fraternity. You know what I mean? And even then, it was like we were shunned and looked down upon in society. You know what I mean? Even from the females we was growing up with, like, ooh, look at y'all, you know, y'all sagging y'all pants, y'all look how y'all got, you know, ooh, big T-shirts on. You know what I mean? Double X. You know, we had a saying coming up. With a big shirt, you got to make it hurt. You know what I mean?
How old you was?
I was like 12 years old.
So that's the first time that you ever got in prison? You ever went to jail?
Yeah, first time I went to Los Padrinos.
That's the juvenile jail?
Yes, sir.
And how long you stayed there?
I stayed in Los Padrinos probably for about 3 weeks the first time.
Okay, and then you came home?
Yeah, I came home, continued, you know.
Your same
hey, man,
shit.
that didn't do nothing but breed more, you know what I mean, criminal activity for me, you know what I mean?
So, and then you went back again?
I went back again.
To juvenile?
I went back to juvenile. I think I went back when I was 13. I ended up going to Camp Mariloma. So I stayed in Camp Mariloma for like about 4 months. Then I got out of Camp Mariloma. It just progressed, you know what I mean?
Again.
Went back again. I ended up going to Camp Page. You know what I mean? Then I stayed in Camp Page for like 11 months.
Okay.
That's when, you know, juvenile hall, everything was cracking. First thing you come in, you got to get cracking. Soon as from the time I was 12 to the time I progressed on to California Youth Authority.
When you mean cracking, what that means?
As soon as you get in, it's like, where you from? You know what I mean? As soon as you get in there, it's like, where you from? And if you ain't from an affiliate of that guy that hit you up, where you from, you about to get cracking right there. Ain't none of that.
So you got to rep your set real quick.
You got to get cracking. You got to get cracking right there.
So that's what you do. So you went back and you got into your cracking.
Yeah.
And you was there for 4 months, you say?
Yeah.
And then you came home again?
Yep. Then I went back.
To juvenile again?
Went back to juvenile.
Wow.
Okay, this time when I went, it was a trip because I ran into one of my partners that I grew up with when I was young, named Black Tone.
Okay.
Tony Lane. And from there, Tony Lane, it was him and there was a dude named Dre, Homer Styles. They was Pyrus, but I knew my grandmother, them, they all lived in Compton when I was younger, so I used to play with Tony Lane them when I used to go over there with my grandmother them when we used to be over there and basically live over there with my sister them. So I ran into Tony Lane, Black Tone. Black Tone went DJ Quick and all them dudes be talking about Black Tone.
Right.
So I ran into Black Tone and then Black Tone them had already been there because they was in there for murders and shit, you know what I mean? I was coming in there for robbery and shit, you know, knocking niggas upside the head and shit like that. So they was already established, but so it was like this. We had a thing that when we went in there, that when soon like say for instance, if I was a Crip, Tone was a Pyru. So like if a Pyru dude come up in there, Black Tone would come and get me, him and Dre. They say, hey, Blue, woo, 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 dude in here for woo, woo, woo. Go in there and see what's happening with him. I run in there, hey, what's happening, cuz? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With that Long Beach and St. Crip, like, if he bowed down, you know what I mean? I'd be like, man, that nigga's a buster, homie. You know what I mean? They'll deal with him. But if he get down, like, if he be like, oh, woo, 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 like, you know, represent.
Yeah, he stands up for his shit.
Sometimes if it didn't went to that level, we got to get down. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he still got his respect. Or I'd be in there like, hey, he down, homie, and then it'd be vice versa. You know what I mean? If a Crip come in there, you know what I mean? And I greet him when he come in, because we were kind of like, we was like the fuck ups. You know what I mean? So we had like Carter Block moving through there with the counselors and shit. Like, it might be somebody that we feel like I feel like I got a problem with and I want to get with him. I tell one of the counselors, hey, I need you to unlock that door, man. And you know what I mean? And let me and dude go up in the laundry room. You know what I mean? And I go tell his homies, like, hey, I got a problem with your homeboy. You know what I mean? The counselor gonna unlock the door. We're gonna go in the laundry room. We're gonna get down and go in there and we, you know, do our stuff, you know? So, and then we also had...
This is all juvenile.
This is all juvenile house. And then it was a trip because this during the time when the crack era was booming and shit, you know what I mean? So it was a counselor in there. I ain't gonna say his name, but Dre and Tone, you know, they homies had spots and shit. So every night, like I said, they was already established. So every night they'll pull me out the cell, you know what I mean? And we'd be on the phone, I'd be talking to their homegirls and shit. And then so we had a staff that used to go to their hood and they homeboys would feed him dope and shit. And he would bring back, you know, cigarettes for us. And then he'd bring back our food and shit every day. Dre had been in there like 2 years already. So every day, Dre moms would bring meals and we'd be eating meals and shit at night, or else the staff would bring us food and shit. And then
so
like,
how long that last?
Oh man, that shit lasted about a year for me, man.
And then what happened from that point?
From that point, I ended up going to camp. And then from camp, I went to Camp Page. And Black Tone had beat his murder, but then I ended up seeing him down there in Camp Page. You know what I mean? We continued right then and there. You know what I mean? We end up doing our shit.
So and then at what point and what age you end up in a penitentiary, like real prison?
I ended up I ended up in California Youth Authority before I ended up in prison. Okay, so when I got out of camp, I went when I was like 14 to 15. I got out when I was 15. Then from 15, I went back to I did my time in there. Then I got out, I was turning 16. Then from 16, I ended up going to California Youth Authority, which I didn't get out till I was 21 years old.
Damn. That whole time?
Yeah.
So you had to stay there the whole juvenile till you turned an adult?
Yeah, till I turned an adult. I mean, that was it. We was maxing out. Fuck all that. You gonna give me a date and I'm gonna be good. We was maxing out. Like,
you was just doing you.
Yeah, I was in TS. It was called... it was Gladiator School. We called it Gladiator School, YTS, Youth Training School, right there in Chino, right across the street from Chino Prison. It was the Gladiator School. I mean, it's like...
So at 21, what happened at that point in your life?
At 21, man, leading up to 21, it was a ride. But at 21, man, I got out and it was booming, man. You know what I mean? It was booming.
You went back out there?
Man, you talking about, I got out, I maxed out, like, they let you out the day you turn 21. So I maxed out from O&R, which is the Rock, and YTS is the Rock. We call it the Mountain, the Rock. You know what I mean? That's where all the fuck-ups at. You know what I mean? So I maxed out from there. So I got out, man. I just fell right into the hood. You know what I mean? I got out, homies had dope spots and stuff like that. But, you know, me, I wasn't a dope dealer or nothing like that. You know, I was just, you know, one of the homies from the hood, you know, just repping the hood. So from there, man, I got out. Man, the hood was... It was booming.
It was lit at that time.
It was booming.
So at that point, you was 21 years old?
Yes, sir.
So how long before that you went back to prison?
I stayed out about 3 years.
Okay, so you went back to prison at 24.
Yeah, I ended up getting into the drug game and all of that. You know what I mean? So that
starting drugs and all that.
So that bought me some time.
So so you was out there selling drugs and all that.
Oh yeah,
then at 24 you went to jail.
Yeah.
For selling drugs and all that.
Yeah, for selling drugs amongst other things. Well, actually, I was on the run for a double murder, and after I got caught, I ended up dealing with the legal ramifications of that, beating that. So I ended up. So the thing about that is, I was thinking.
How was that? That must have been fucking scary. You fighting two bodies, two murders and shit like that. You fighting for your life. How was that?
And it was an attempt. At that time, it was like you thinking that, like our mindset at that time was. Like, I'm going to die for the set, or I'm gonna do death row for the set. You know what I mean? So it wasn't no scary time. Because you got to remember coming through.
You was just stepping up for what you believe.
Exactly. You got to remember coming through camp, coming through juvenile halls, coming through YA. All that was rites of passage for us back then. You know what I mean? It was like, that's what you did.
That's what you did.
That's what you did.
Yeah, that was just like graduating all the way to until you hit the major leagues.
From elementary to junior high to high school to the university.
So in them at 24, you went back to prison. How much time did you get doing that? I mean,
I stayed in the county jail like about 2.5 years, and then from there I think I'm going home, right? So when I think I'm going home, they filed a kidnap robbery on me right there the day I'm supposed to come home.
Okay, so before that, so while you was in prison and you was about to come home.
No, I was in the county fighting the other case.
Okay, fighting up the double murder.
Exactly, thinking I'm coming home.
Okay.
But the day I'm supposed to come home, they filed a kidnap robbery on me, which sent me to prison. So my thing is, I call. It was a lot of details to it. So I called the house and I tell my uncle them, I'm like, look, man, they not gonna let me go. He's like, what you mean? I said, man, they filed a kidnap robbery on me. And my uncle said, you already know what time it is. I'm like, he said, man, you know you got to sit down. You know you're going to have to sit down. So you know you got to take that trip. So I ended up taking a deal going to prison.
Okay. While you was there fighting the case, how long you was in the county jail, like, you know, in the jail?
I was in there 2.5 years.
And what's all the things how was that experience as far as?
Oh, that was a zoo. That was a zoo.
That's what I'm saying. Being how was the gangs and in the
we was in the Crip. We was in the Crip module.
Yeah. So how that all worked out when you in that like in Rikers Island in New York City, they put all the Crips in one area, put all the Bloods in one area, so it's the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, you had the Crip module, you had the Blood module, you had High Power. You know what I mean? And then you had the keepaways. You know what I mean? But in the Crip module, it was a zoo, man. That's where you really you get tested at, and then you got to understand.
What are the things that you had got? Could you tell us like one experience that you've been through, or something that you seen while you was there that you never forget, like that happened to either someone or something that you did in anything?
Oh man, well I had to discipline one of my homeboys that we grew up with, that I was close with. You know what I mean? When it came down to laying down that law, they said he had done something that you know what I mean, against our community standards, you know, and I had to deal with him.
Was that tough for you to just?
Not really. It was just something that I had to do. You know what I mean? It was like shit, either me or him. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really me. It was more or less the whole car, me and all my homies.
Right.
You know, but when it was brought to my attention, I'm like, no, we got to deal with it. You know what I mean? So I was the one that initiated, you know what I mean, the activity.
Right.
But I seen a lot of dudes, man. I seen dudes get you know what I mean, get their manhood took over false allegations. You know what I mean? I seen dudes get killed up in there, false allegations. I seen a lot of manipulation.
When you say false allegations, what do you mean?
Like somebody might say this dude didn't told, you know what I mean?
Oh, and
they find out he didn't tell later on, you know what I mean? And then you had a lot of manipulation going down. Older dudes, you know what I mean, running mind games, manipulating us younger guys, you know? So that was really my thing, was that I never want to be put in the trick bag, so I was always like, shit, let me do the demonstration. Facts. You know what I mean?
Facts. So from there, you went to the penitentiary.
Yeah.
You got sentenced. What you copped out to? What was your sentence?
I copped out to kidnapping, robbery.
And how much time you got?
I ended up with 6.
6 years.
Yeah, but they waived all of my county jail time. I didn't get credit for that time.
So all that time you spent on the county time, 2.5 years,
it was no good.
It was no good. It was just laying up for no reason.
It was laying up for no reason.
Well, that was
but see, the thing behind that was real political. See, I stay in Long Beach, so the thing is that they wasn't gonna see a guy like me after being coming in for allegations of charges like that just walk out into the streets. So that was all political. So I had to just get out the way and go on up the way.
So the 6 years that you was, so when you got to the penitentiary, what was the name of the penitentiary?
I went to Solano.
And how was that? Your first day there, you know? I mean, how was it? You're a Crip. You pretty known. Probably people know you, or
yeah, it was like, you know what I mean. During the time I was fighting the case, the big homies was waiting on me anyway to come. No matter where I landed, they was waiting on me to come. You know what I mean? They had the blue carpet and the, you know what I mean, and everything waiting on me. The greetings bag and all that waiting for me.
Okay, cool.
But it was kind of like when I got there.
Yeah, how was that experience? Like, you know, how was the whole transition from going from the state to the penitentiary? How was that all like?
It was different, you know what I mean? And especially coming from our California Youth Authority, it was different, you know what I mean? My expectations was like, you know, you hearing all the rumors, you hearing everything, and not really understanding the politics. Prison politics was a lot different because in YA, we just demonstrated, we just put it down. You know what I mean? We just took off. You know what I mean? But in prison, it wasn't like that. You had lifers, and the things that you do not only affect you, but it affect everybody around you. Not saying that ain't the same thing in YA, but even in the county jail, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? What you do affects those around you and those in the same car from the same set you from.
It's just taken more serious in the penitentiary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, people that's already situated doing life. So it is like if you really violate this one person, then you really make sure that you violate and you be ready to face whatever comes and all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah, then it was a protocol, a structure there. You know what I mean? It was like, you can't just move because you want to move. You know what I mean? No, you can't do that. And it was like, nobody is bigger than the car in there.
Okay.
So we had set guidelines and like I said, protocol and structure, and it was like everything got to be passed through the committee.
Okay. So you're 6 years there. How was that? How many altercations and have you been to the box while you was there?
Oh yeah.
I mean, how was that? Or you know?
It was real educational, should I say? But it was cool for me because when I got there, it was like the keys was passed to me from the older homies. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it was different, and I had a different mindset, and pretty much the big homies that was there, they had like gave me the keys, like, here, man, we got you. What you feel about it? Because every time there was a situation on the yard, you know, some of the older homies, they would like call me Blue Devil. So, you know, they were like, hey, what you feel about this situation?
They called you what, Blue Devil?
Yeah, you know, homies got their secret little names.
What was that? What was the reason? I mean, what was that about?
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
It's Blue, but some of the older homies like Blue Devil, you know.
Okay.
So, you know, they like, okay, situation, you know, like they come to me, something happened on the yard. You know, it was kind of like, I wasn't handed the keys, but it was per se like, when situations happen, they come to me for my advice, like, hey, homie, this what happened. Woo, woo, woo. What you think about this situation right here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, shit, nigga, strap up. You know what I mean? Tell the other Crip cars, you know, strap up. I'm gonna go over there and address the situation, you know, whether we dealing with outside the race situation or inside the red or blue situation. You know what I mean? I'm always tell the homie, because I worked on the yard. So I had, you know what I mean? I had action at where we hid all the knives and everything. You know what I mean? And I made that was.
You know where everything was at.
I knew where everything was at.
You used to stash it where? Like what, on the grass?
I stashed it on the grass, inside the canteen, everywhere. You know what I mean?
For those people that don't really know what he's breaking down, we talking about bangers, knives, you know, handmade prison weapons and shit like that. That's what he used to put away and stuff like that. So go ahead, Blue. What they call?
Kisus. Swahili kisu.
Okay. So go ahead. So you used to have everything on smash in the yard.
Yeah. So I knew where all of our weapons was situated on the yard. You know what I mean? And then like if a situation would happen, I would make sure that when the homies come that I instantly had them already strapped up, like boom, 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 boom. I strapped the homies up, or else I tell them, hey, over there behind, up under the 40 dumbbell, you know what I mean? All you got to do is just dig maybe an inch and it's already waiting on you, bro. You know what I mean? Go up over there by the bench press bar, you know what I mean? And up under that 20 dumbbell, you know what I mean? Boom, it's there, you know what I mean? And we had secret little, you know, different spots, you know what I mean? I'll be like, hey, send the homie over there to the canteen, you know what I mean? And they gonna pass him, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Things like that.
Okay, so one of the altercations that you have gotten in as far as in there, like that you can remember that caused you to go to the box, and how much box time you done?
Actually, I was a 3-striker and I had a DA referral. I had to get down on one of my own homies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like what that means, because I don't know what.
Like I had to discipline one of my own homies, so I had to stab one of my own homies.
Oh, okay.
From my neighborhood.
So they wrote you up for it, and you went to the box.
They wrote me up for it, and I went to the box. I was looking at a DA referral. That mean that the district attorney on the outside in that county that we was in was looking to pick up the case if the evidence was strong enough for them to pick up the case. And so inside the institution, they wait to see if the DA referral, if the DA pick it up, then they gonna prosecute you to the full extent inside there.
Okay. So did that ever happen?
No, the DA didn't pick it up. But I sat in the hole waiting for a long time, you know what I mean? Like about 11 months. And then the thing about it, this was like in 94 when they was coming out with the 3 strikes. So I was looking at a 3 strikes. So if I would have got found guilty or went to trial for that, I was going to receive life sentence after damn near looking, all right, now, the kidnap for robbery, I was looking at 15 to life for that. And then the double homicide, that was life without or better.
Right.
You know what I mean? So either way it go, I'm sitting in there, I'm like, damn, man, I just got through beating this shit right here, per se. And now, damn, I'm gonna fuck around and end up with life again behind one of my own homeboys from my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Behind having to put the discipline down on him. Because my thing was like this, was like, we had the younger homies in there. At the time, I had just turned 27, you know what I mean? So my thing was like this, was like, we had the younger homies in there. So if a situation happened, I want to make sure that it's done right.
Mm. You want to make sure that shit get done and get resolved right.
Exactly. And then me, I didn't want to drag them into other shit. Mm-hmm. So it was like, deal with this homeboy, he's in the wrong, or we go to war. But he's in the wrong, so my thing ain't about who's right, it's about what's right. Like I tell my homies, you know, I go all the way with you. I go all the way with you with this, homie, all the way through with this with you, homie, if you right, homie. But if you ain't right, homie, I'm gonna draw the line in the sand. Mm. And we got a thing like in our car to where from Long Beach, in which every other car have, nobody disciplines ours. We discipline our own homeboy.
Facts.
We can't let nobody from nowhere else put discipline on our own homies. So I felt that it, like up on committee and hollering at my older homies, I felt like it was warranted to where we dealt with dude not damn near to the full extent of that discipline, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that was like, get him off the yard, and the only way to do it was like, I'm like, no, I gotta put out a demonstration, not just on him for his egregious act, but also for the others outside that, you know what I mean?
Just looking.
Yeah, exactly.
So how much time you spent in the box for that?
I did 11 months.
11 months. And how was that?
Man, it was real educational to me. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, out of all the time I did from, matter of fact, in juvenile halls, they even created a thing called administrative hold for us. Mm. Like me, Black Tone, and my homeboy, who was it? It was Payback from Trag New Park, and my homeboy Black from 59 East Coast. Mm. So they created an administrative hold for us because they used to give you 7 days. You only do 7 days in the box. But we were fucking up so much, they created a 30-day administrative hold for us in Los Padrinos because we was always in the box, you know what I mean?
So it was different than the second time that you went to the box. How was that?
You talking about the administrative hold?
Yeah, like when you was on the juvenile administrative hold, well, the 7 days, 30 days is different than
the administrative hold was 30 days, but the maximum then was only 7 days that you could do.
Okay.
But we fucked up. The box was our home, so they like, nah, 7 days ain't doing nothing for them.
Not enough for them.
So we got to put these dudes on administrative hold, which means you could stay in there 30 days or more.
Okay. So you saying, so when you went to the box now in the penitentiary, how was that? It was just like...
I mean, I was already used to being in the box, you know what I mean? Even from...
what you did while you was in there, like, you know, how you spend your $23 23 hours a day, how you spend your days there?
I would read and I would exercise. Mm. You know what I mean? That's all I would do was just read, exercise, and if we had action to write, I would write. Mm.
So when you came out the hole from there, when you went back to back to the same penitentiary or to the transfer?
Yeah, I went back to the same main line. The investigative lieutenant, he said, man, I'm gonna let you out, because I was short. Look, man, I think I was about to go home, you know what I mean? And 95, 95, this happened in 94. I was ready to go home in 95. So dude was like, look, man, you beat this right up, man. I'm gonna let you go back, man. Just give me your word. You won't get in no more shit.
You won't fuck up no more.
Yeah, and then, you know, after looking at 3 strikes, shit started, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you start thinking.
Shit started setting in.
So you came back out the box and you chill.
And I just chilled, man.
And what you did when you came out the box? Did you go to program? Did you have to force to go to school, program?
No, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing, man. I just went to the yard and went to my cell to the yard and just programmed with the homies. But during my time in the box, it was like my time, whenever I was in solitary confinement, that was always like the best time I ever did in my life. And it was like the most peaceful, even like up until this day, being 52, it's like them times were the best time I ever had in my life. I hate to say that, but I found peace and tranquility. You know what I mean? And sitting in them in that environment, in that closed quarters right there. Yeah. I found tranquility up in there, man.
Okay.
So and even in that time, I learned a lot. Like I had in the box when I was in prison, in the hole, I had a dude next to me named Yero Gaidi. That's how I got my name, Hakika Bomani Ascari. You know what I mean? He was a BGF, a Black Guerrilla Family, and he would lace me down. Like that's where I really learned blackness. Well, actually, I learned about us as blackness while I was in the hold on YTS. I read the Malcolm X book, and you know that sparked that sparked
the knowledge.
That sparked something, but it didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? Right. But it planted a seed, and then when I got to the prison, I got to the hold, and I was in a cell next to Yero Gaidi. We used to all go to the yard together, and we used to do the exercise. So it would be me, Yero, and I'm trying to think of who else. I can't think of who else. It was another dude. I think his name was Bird from up north. Okay. So we used to lead the blacks, you know, because in the hole we was all together, Crips, Bloods, Damoos, and non-affiliates. So in there, I would lead the exercise yard, and we had a thing like we'd all be on unison and we'd all do the same thing. But after we get through, me, Yero, and Bird, we would still continue busting down. But it was mandatory in the hole that as a black that you came out to the yard, and it was mandatory that you bust down and you exercise. Because back then, when we went to the prison, certain things was mandatory.
So that was united.
Yeah, we had a quiet period. You had to sit quiet for this period, and you had to study at this time, and you had the mandatory exercise, which I don't think they doing these days. But during that time, prison, you had to exercise, you had to study, and you had to learn Swahili. You know what I mean? Because when the Hispanics and everybody else is speaking, and it could be like tension and war going on, and they talking their language, their native tongue over the tier, how we gonna communicate? We can't pass kites. We can't fish and send lines down there because if we get intercepted and the wrong thing on it, you know what I mean?
Facts, so they're gonna know.
Yeah, so we had to understand certain things we had to do. And so during that time, Yero, he laced me down with a whole lot of game. He seen something in me that, you know, he gave me privy information that a lot of dudes didn't get. And then you got to understand the BGFs and the Crips were enemies in the prison. But he took to me and gave me a lot of trade secrets, you know what I mean? And he would do things like this to me. He would give me a piece of paper and it might have it might be 5 pages long. And he would have each page number like from 1 to 27 and then 52 and so on each page. And he taught me something called internalize. He said, I need you to internalize this, Hakika. And Hakika in Swahili, it means true, real. Bomani means warrior. Ascari means soldier. So he named me Hakika Bomani Ascari. And so what happened was he give me these pieces of paper. He said, I need you to internalize this. And internalize means that you don't learn it, you become it. But this is what he'd do.
You're gonna apply it.
You're gonna apply it. That's your life. That's who you are. And what it was he give it to me. He might give me 5 hours to internalize that. And then I have to give him the paper back. And then so he might hit my cell, bam, 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 bam. Wake me up at it might be that day or 2 days later. And he'd be like, Hakika, page 2, line 37. I'd have to recite that. And then he might be like, Hakika, page 4, line 70, woo, woo, woo. And I'd have to recite that. Or he might be like, 1 through 10, I'd have to recite that, but I wouldn't verbally say it. I would write it down because he was right next to me. We would fish, and I'd have to write it down and give it to him. You know what I mean? Okay. Or it just depends on what the vibe or the noise was. Because a lot of stuff he gave me was real information, shit that...
Real education.
Yeah, real educational shit. So he laced me down with a lot of shit, man.
So that helped you out a lot in the box.
That helped me a whole lot, man. Because a lot of the stuff was about our people. He taught me about how to not look at things from my perspective, but look at it from a world view.
Right.
And he taught me different things about how to set out and move about. Everything that's happening now, he taught me about the things that was going to happen in the 21st century and how to move. Everything that's happening now, they gave it to me way back then, bro. And then even when I was moving on the yard, I wasn't moving with my comrades. I was moving with older dudes, lifers, dudes who was never coming home. And they was sliding me books and stuff like.
Yeah, they was educating you.
Yeah, they was educating me.
Absolutely. That's what's up. So, Blue, so after your 6 years, what year you came home?
I came home in 95.
95. And how was that, man? I mean, you've been home since.
Yeah, I've been home since, but I didn't went back. I went back a couple of times.
Fought a couple of cases and came back?
Yeah, ended up doing 32 months in the county again, you know what I mean? Fighting the case, looking at my life, looking at a life sentence again. That was another time I had to go pro per that way.
Where we at with you? Where's Blue at right now? As far as since you've been home in that last 32 months that you spent in prison, have you been back in prison? I mean, have you been taking it easy? I mean, you've been working on self? You know, I mean, like, what's been going on with Blue?
I've been mashing, man. I've been working on self. I've been rebuilding, building a foundation up under myself that they can't take from me. You know what I mean? Building a legal foundation, because I just said it comes down to where I had to put value on. Like, you understand, like in prison and when you on the streets and when you in the hood, you moving around in these different arenas, you putting value on everything else, but you ain't putting no value on yourself. Like, whenever you go somewhere with your homies, you the one that got your eyes open, like, while everybody having fun.
You looking out for everybody else, but nobody looking out for you.
Yeah, so in that time, a lot happened when I was in the county jail. During the last 32 months, man, my daughter started gangbanging.
Oh.
She went to jail. So I had to look at that, and then I started looking at some of the old heads coming through that, you know, was on drugs and things like that. So I started looking at the devastation of what I was doing, and then I started hearing about my nephew, them out there gangbanging and stuff like that. And then right before that, I had lost a niece who had got killed at 17 years old. This was my favorite niece. This was the only one.
Sorry to hear that, Blue.
Yeah. This was my niece, Mercedes. She was the only one that called me Uncle Blue. The rest of them called me Uncle. So it was like I was kind of like grew up with her. And she went her way. And then once I was out there, I went my way. But we were still in the family. But then I went back and snatched her. And at the time I snatched her, she was living with me. And then she drifted off, went and stayed with another family member, ended up getting killed. And then that right there, you know what I mean? That just started opening different, you know what I mean?
Just woke you up.
Yeah, it woke me up from a different perspective. So I ended up going, like you say, doing the 32 months. I came home and I'm like, damn, how can I got to put value on myself. So it's some things that I can't do, you know what I mean? And so here I am now. I'm like, damn, I'm accustomed to a certain lifestyle, you know what I mean? A certain quality of life, not just for me, but for all my family. You know what I mean? Like, hey, certain things like financial things, it was never a situation for us.
Right.
So I'm having to go through, I had to go through that mental battle of like, you know, first thing happened, you know, you like, fuck that. You know what I mean? I know how to use.
I got this.
Yeah, I got this.
I know how to handle this shit.
Yeah, but then it's like, you can't do that, you know what I mean? You can, but you can't because you understand the game. And the game is, they want to put you in that jar, you know what I mean? And shelf you, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much, you know, I start thinking like that. And then I start thinking like, as far as the foundation, what type of foundation? So I ended up back out, man, locking in with a couple of the elders in the community. And then I started seeing different games, man. I started seeing how they was using guys like us, man. Like, locked in with a preacher in the community, and we would go different places, and he would be like, "Oh, this is a young man I'm working with in the community, but you're not really working with me. I'm with you. I'm hoping that you will help me get on this track, but you're not. So I'm with you. At the end of the day, I go home. He give me $20. I go home, grown ass man. Like, what can I do with this? You know what I mean? $20. Like, you know what I mean? I got 2 kids at the time. So now, here I am. But after we didn't went in this meeting with all these dignitaries and these people with suits on, it's like 2 or 3 weeks later, I see these people at these meetings. Now they over there at his church, I'm there. Now they didn't did a contract. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn. Okay, so I start seeing that. And then I got to a relationship with my daughter's mom. And I'm like, hold on, this shit ain't working now. You know what I mean? I can't just sit up under these dudes no more. I gotta, you know what I mean? So then I just started getting whatever I had to do, man, getting little side jobs, whatever I had to do. Painting houses, you know, whatever I had to do, man, you know what I mean?
Stay out the way and stay focused.
Yeah, holler at somebody here and there. They can give me a job. I'm on a job. They don't like my demeanor. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just moving around trying to find my way. And then so I ended up as a coach. I was one dude that I know from my neighborhood, Hector. He was a coach at the high school. So, you know, I'm like always, you know, been cool whether I'm dealing with the younger homies or whatever. You know what I mean? I always was able to click with them. So I'm like, okay, this is a way to have access to some of the young kids. And I know it's like a lot of the young homies, you know, was playing football, doing different things like that, but they end up getting them lengthy prison sentences or running off to the streets gangbang. So I'm like, okay, I go over here for something to do, and I end up there coaching and being a mentor at the high school at Long Beach Poly.
Oh man, that's what's up, man. Shit.
And then from there,
I mean, you got the credentials. You've been through some shit, and people know who you are. So this is you're the right person for the youth to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to help.
Yeah, it's crazy that you said that because when I end up over there, it was like I didn't know how a prestigious of a position that was because you got, you know, this is Long Beach Poly. This is Sports Illustrated School of the Century. You know what I mean? We didn't put out more NFL players than any school in the history of America.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So this is a very prestigious situation that I'm in that I didn't understand. I just
fell into.
And then you got the dudes, then you got, you know, we got the Pop Warner football and all the other football up under the high school football. So all the dudes at Pop Warner, they like, damn, Blue, how you get over there? They like, man, I've been trying to get over there for 15 years. How you end up right there? They like
end up right there.
So I'm like, so I ended up there. You know what I mean?
That's a blessing, man.
Yeah. Then from there, I started like a lot of the players and stuff that was there. You know, I knew they mom, they dad. You know, I knew their uncles, their grandmothers, or whoever. You know, they knew me from the community when I was out there doing my stuff. And then so from there, I started, you know, building a lot of credibility in that line of work right there. So then I ended up, you know, me liking to work out. I've been, you know, coming up through the system. You better work out.
That's right.
So, you know what I mean? I would be off to the side training and working out myself. I would get there an hour early, you know what I mean? Be busting down on the track or doing whatever in the weight room or whatever, you know, doing my stuff. So a lot of the players, they would be like, hey, coach, I be seeing you do your stuff. You know what I mean? Can we get down with you? So then they start getting down with me, working out. So then on Saturday and Sunday, I started training them. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
Because when you look at everything like the P90X and all of the training and stuff, that's really hard shit, dog. Only thing is they went and they put a term on that, like, you know what I mean? Like, say, for instance, like in sports world, you wouldn't say forearm, you would say on the radius, things like that. Use a different language, you know what I mean? So I started doing my research, learning the language, went to school, different things like that, learned how to do sports training and stuff like that. And then I noticed like a lot of the players, they would come home from college, D1 scholarship, or come back from playing a few years in the pro, but then they had their head down because they didn't capitalize on that situation. So, you know, watching our kids get misused and pimp, you know what I mean? Same things in the music industry, nobody caring about them financially. So from there, a lot of the parents would ask me because they, for whatever reason, they, you know, just from the hood, didn't know nothing about sports or anything. They just had kids that was D1, you know, 5-star athletes getting recruited by every college across the nation. They didn't know nothing about it. So they would ask me, would I go on the recruiting scholarships trips with the kids? And I'm like, shit, you mean I get to travel and do this and I ain't got to be doing this and this while I'm doing it? So I'm like, yeah, I do it. You know what I mean? So from there, I just started moving around in different circles. And then so I built a bond with some of the families, you know what I mean? They be like, hey, we want you to stay around, you know what I mean? And continue to move. So
got
from
my
there,
kids and all that.
Yeah,
Hell
so, you know, from there, doors start opening, man. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. Blue. I like that, man. I like that. Let's give it up for Blue, man. That's what's up. Blue, one more question. What you think about jail reform?
What I think about jail reform, I think it's bullshit, as is. You mean, there is no such thing as jail reform. We go in there, we do our time, we come home.
It's needed.
They give us 200.
It's really needed, Joe.
Man, it's really needed because guys like myself, you know, we had to make our way. There was no supporting services or any outreaches that we could go to help us get on that right track. There was no me or you that we could go to. Now you got somebody like me or somebody like you. When the homies come home, you like we got a script that we follow, And I have a saying that says it hurts, but it works. You know that shit hurt, but it works because you used to a certain lifestyle and doing certain things, but you still got to go through the pain and everything and still maintain your mental because you feel like, because you stepping into a different world that this ain't our world. You uncomfortable not in this world that we moving in until you find your niche. You know what I mean? You realize that, damn, who I was over here, I'm the same person over here.
Facts.
So yeah, reform, man, it's very necessary, man. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been doing now. I've been doing a lot of stuff in that transformative justice and rehabilitative justice line of work. You know, right now I work with Professional Community Intervention Training Institute. We go across the country and we train. We help build the infrastructures for different cities and different programs. Show them how to be self-reliant and how to utilize the resources in the community so that it's community-driven from the inside and we don't need no outside influence to build us up. And so now we've been able to, we're training the USC, University of Southern California. We train the social workers there, the psychologists over there at the Lyon University in San Diego. We train them, you know what I mean, amongst many others. Then we also doing training with LAPD. We help them with their community engagement and community sensitivity training. We've been doing that like 3 years now. Yeah, we moving now.
That's what's up,
you know, because now for so long, you know, man, we bring the legitimacy and validate who they are, you know what I mean?
Facts.
But, you know what I mean? Like, say, for instance, when somebody go to get a PhD and do their thesis with a subject matter, but now when does the subject matter get validated?
Right.
So now we validated ourselves, you know what I mean? Understanding who we are and what we bring to the table.
Facts. Well, listen, man, I guess this is what it is, man. It's your boy Pistol Pete, man. I want to first and foremost thank my brother, man, Blue, for coming through. You already know we out here on that West Coast, man. And I had to get the official brothers, man, from the West Coast out here. And nothing better but, you know, my brother Blue to come through, man. I appreciate you coming through, Blue. It was real, man. Appreciate it. Keep doing the right thing out there. I love that shit. I love what you're doing.
Hey, man,
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dog.
You already know it's that dog in the yard, it's that yard talk, and it's Blue. You already know, official. Let's get it.
Long Beach to New York. You know what it is.
Let's get it. What's up? Welcome back, man. You already know. Dog in the yard, and that yard talk. I want to thank Blue for coming through. I mean, I know y'all never heard it like this, especially the East Coast. I mean, take advantage of this West Coast journey, man. You can learn a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's happening all over, man. So jail is definitely all over, man. And jail reform is definitely needed, man. So with that being said, man, I want to thank everybody, man, for joining me. You know what I'm saying? And on this journey, on this West Coast journey. But let's not forget, let's check out that merch. You know what I mean? Dog in the Yard merch out right now. Go get it. You already know. Hit that blog. Hit that theory. You already know. Take you right through it. Your boy Pistol.
Splash. 1, 2. This is a step. This is how gangsters do it. Splash. Step. 1, 2. I'm in a whole lot of zones. They look like colonoscopes. I got the white for the white boy that's sniffing the shit, then he ski down the slopes. I got the can for that lady that thinks she could take it, but know that she can't. I got that work for that work that's gonna work right after it works. Look, I put